Hi, and welcome to Silver Linings Talk Show. This is our October episode, and we're thrilled to introduce Gina Johnson. She is a holistic business coach and philanthropist. Gina takes a non-conventional approach to coaching by helping her clients to reignite the spark in their business. Gina founded Networking for a Cause, a networking group highlighting local nonprofits and bringing together those who value philanthropy. She also sits on the board of Carnita Smiles, a nonprofit that helps change lives. We're so looking forward to learning a lot more about that as well. We are thrilled to have Gina with us today. Welcome to Silver Linings Talk Show, Gina.
Thank you so much, Lynn and Dina. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Of course, it's always very exciting to talk to other women about my journey and their journey. So thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for coming to our table today. And certainly, I think one thing that we really want to highlight is the fact that you have switched careers. So you really started out as a chef and then transitioned to a holistic business coach. So just curious, we'd love to hear that first story about how you even got into the first career of being a chef.
Oh, that's a great question. I started cooking when I was 7 or 8 years old. When I was a little girl, I didn't play baby dolls, I played restaurant. And I had my stuffed animals all lined up on my bed, and I was the chef, and I cooked. And I started cooking for my family when I was really young. Like I said, my whole family of 6. And my dad would know. So I am Portuguese, and he could smell the spice. So he would come through the door, and he would, oh, Gina cooked, I can tell. And I was a kid. I was in elementary school, and I just love cooking so much, and I never thought I would want to do anything else, just be a chef. So as a woman in business and a mom, I became a chef, and I thought, and I would go to networking groups because I also dabbled in marketing and had my own catering business, and I would listen to all of these women, and they would say, oh, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, and I thought, oh, I'm so lucky because I know what I want to do, and I love doing what I'm doing, and then boom, and then I turned 40, and I was like, what? What am I going to do when I grow up? So I was that woman.
So then how did it evolve to holistic business coach?
Well, I went through a very difficult time. I lost a child at birth many years ago. And through that, I discovered the holistic community. So holistic modalities, meditation, yoga, acupuncture, you name it, I did it. I'm happy to say I have 2 beautiful children, 21 and 22. And so then you get busy. You become a mom, and I was doing my chefing. And then when I hit that point, when I wasn't sure what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I was like, oh no, I'm one of them, like I said, I thought back to the most difficult time in my life. How did I get through that? And I got through that by the holistic community, by all of those modalities. So I just followed the yellow brick road, and anything that felt good. I mean, I did everything from crystal singing bowls to becoming a Reiki master, you know, getting certified in chakra balancing, and I just kept doing all of these things that felt good. Follow my joy, be authentic. And at one point I thought, okay, I'm going to be a healer, and you know, who knew? As it turns out, I became a coach to the healers and to the holistic community. And so that's how it all happened.
Nice. Kind of like full application of what you've learned. And I love how you said you did what felt good, because I think sometimes we force ourselves into places where it doesn't feel so good.
Right.
And when you're struggling, I kind of don't feel like that's the good thing, right?
Yes, exactly.
So you adapted, and you've gone through many adaptions, and kind of how we started this show was through COVID.
Right.
And I know you'd love to tell a little bit of the story as to how you adapted post-COVID or through COVID to create a new direction in your work as well.
Yes. So anytime I'm working with clients on their business, I always ask them this question: what is your client's biggest pain point? Where are they struggling today, right? So an entrepreneur's pain point today is a little different than it will be in January, right? In January, they're launching something new, and now they're trying to finish the year strong. So I looked at the whole picture, and people were panicking, and they were scrambling, and they wanted to do something in their business. They didn't know how it was going to work or what it was going to look like. None of us knew what COVID was going to be. So I went into meditation, and I thought about it, and I'm like, what do they need? I'm like, oh, they need a taste. They need just a little taste of coaching, just enough to let them feel like they're doing something, but not, you know, taking on 3 or 6 months of coaching. So I came up with a taste of. So these are my little cards, and I do them. So this is a taste of fall, and I add a little, I like to put a little foodie, little something in there with everything I do, because I can't help it. Once a chef, always a chef. So I just finished a taste of summer, and it's just a toe in the water. So 3 coaching sessions. But really what it was about, and so I continued it because people really liked it. So they didn't have to take on, like I said, all of that coaching. They could just have a tiny little taste of it, and then from there they can move on. So that's really what I did, was I just adapted. And then during that time when people were so scared, that's kind of when I kind of created that discovering your secret sauce, because people were so nervous. None of us knew what was happening, and so I just tried to deflect and put it on who they are and take that time to pull out of them. That's the holistic coaching piece, what makes you special. And
we're going to talk a little bit more about the secret sauce. And one thing that we had talked about that we've also experienced with you, which is very cool, is when things started kind of opening up again, there was that shift of connection and coming back together. And that was something that everybody needed. And you kind of created that space for everyone in terms of, I think that's when you started looking at, you know, the kind of networking lunches and retreats.
yes.
And I think that you gave us just a few little pictures of like little snapshots of that. Can you tell us about the photos?
Well,
There we are.
as I was looking through my photos, I thought, well, this is a perfect one. This is from one of our luncheons, because the 2 of you are in it.
Yes, we were.
Right.
And I know that it wasn't easy for people to say yes. Not everybody
Yes.
was ready, but it was kind of a gradual process, which I loved about it, because it wasn't, it was like, come if you're comfortable.
Right.
Everyone came and were able to share as best they could about what they were going through, but you gave them the opportunity. And, that
And
was
we've had those 2 other ladies on the show.
yes, we have.
Mary and Suzanne.
Yes, we have.
So
Awesome.
interesting that I picked that picture.
Right.
I love it. I love it.
Right.
So yeah, so that was definitely one of our lunches. And here's another photo. And this is a larger group. We typically were not that big. And the idea, the first one I had was just to bring people together. Everybody was ready to network, but they really weren't sure. And I had just moved to the shore, and I realized that I think 5 or 6 of my clients were on the shore, and I had never met you in person.
Right.
And so I pulled this together and said, you know, let's just get to know each other. And there's no pressure, no stress, and get to know each other as women, as human beings, not as, you know, what's your business, you know, how can I make the sale? And it was just really about connecting and bringing people together, and that was a really big event, right?
Yes. And we see Rhea right up front.
Yeah.
She was on our show too. And this photo, what's going on here?
So this photo, this is when I did my business planner.
Oh.
And the first one a couple of years ago, and it, again, coming out of COVID, and this was just bringing people together. I thought people were ready. So I had a conference that I hosted, and it was goal setting for the new year. And so, you know, normally conferences I've done have been like 125, 150 people. I think we had 60, and I was really happy with that. And some people just said, I'm just not ready. I'm just not comfortable yet, you know, to get out there. And so that's what that was about. And I highlighted 3 or 4 other women in business to present as well, because I love to have everybody showcase their specialty.
Very cool.
Awesome.
So you brought your planner.
I brought my
Can we
planner.
just have you just maybe talk a little bit about some of the highlights? Like if somebody was interested in your planner, what would they be getting?
So the planner happened because I was solving a problem. right? And so the biggest one is goal setting. So the whole beginning of the book is based on goal setting. So we're reflecting on last year, planning out the new year, a little bit of marketing, and then it's just to keep you on track. And I changed it 2 or 3 times just based on, I think both of you even gave feedback on what people wanted to see in the planner. And of course, everything is digital, right? Everything is digital now, and we use our Google Calendars, but it's nice just to brain dump and get things on paper. And so this really was a brainchild of mine during COVID because we were all home. The first one had coffee chat tracker and all these online networking things and track your Zoom meetings, and now it has evolved. So every client I work with gets a planner, and it's just to keep on your desk and plan your stuff out.
Yeah, I think that's always important to jot things down because whether it gets to your electronic or not, I think we're kind of multifaceted these days, especially our generation.
Right. I'm still paper and pen.
Well,
like
for sure.
in everything. So.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I'm both.
That's me.
So when it comes down to it, we have this business planner, but we did touch on it a little bit. You created this secret sauce course in your different tastes, right? I really would love to hear how you came up with this and how it relates to your career development.
Yeah.
Well, I came up with it because I was working with clients and they were leaving huge gaps out. So someone who had a skincare line that she developed was leaving out the fact that she was a nurse for 40 plus years. And she said, no, I don't want to be known for that. And I'm like, what? But that's that's your credibility. Like, that's amazing. And she just wanted to be known for her new career. And it happened again, client after client after client, and I realized what I was already doing by, adding the names of my packages were around food was just me showing who I am, right? And so, as I say all the time, the secret to your secret sauce is you. You cannot leave out any ingredients of that. And so I created that course during COVID, the beginning of COVID, because I wanted to pull out of my clients and have people start thinking about all of the aspects, because you ladies are sitting here with every job you've ever had, your entire career, your history, how you spend your time, everything. And so part of my success from hosting events is because I used to be in the hospitality industry, and I used to be a chef, and I entertained a lot, and I was in that arena. So by adding that piece to it, I think is really getting people to understand who you are as a person, and as a coach, pulling that out of clients. So I have them name their businesses. If your business was a food, and I know both of you did this, right? If your business was a food, what would it be and why? Do you remember? You didn't do it, Gina?
I didn't do it.
Len, you did it. What was your food?
I think mine was a salad bar because it's so diverse. I don't know.
That's so perfect for you.
I think it was. No, it was.
It was because I think there's so many things you can do with it. Like, if you follow, I don't know, I get a lot of my ideas on social media now, and it's not what you think it is. It's not lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumbers. It really isn't. There's so much you can do.
Right.
With
I love that.
when it comes to it. So it's diverse and it's inclusive and it's homemade and all of the things.
I loved when someone we know, Bill Cohen, came up with chowder, New England clam chowder.
His business was a cup of, as he said, chowder.
Chowder. And I loved how he described it, and of course I don't remember, and I won't do it justice if I tried to. But just the way that he described it was so wonderful. Like I'm that warm. Right. I remember that piece. Like you get that warmness from that cup of chowder, and so it's like really thinking about.
That's owning.
It's like really thinking about that. If you were to identify your business as a food item, really, what would it be? And that's like he thought deep.
He took the course.
And I loved
he was
it.
my first person to sign up, and he took the course, and he gave me amazing testimonials. I start the course by saying I'm a spicy bowl of chili, and then I added because I'm Portuguese and I like to cook with spice, and then and I talk a little bit about every job or every experience I've had that kind of puts into that recipe. But you're right. So Bill, he definitely rocked that.
Shout out to you, Bill.
Yes. We're
It's
still
really
talking
fun.
about it, Bill.
I know, it's very fun.
Yes, it's awesome too.
Yes.
I love that.
And then how does your secret sauce, how do you help bring that, to your clients, and how does that impact their lives and their work, and what have you seen kind of transpire from secret
pulling
sauce?
out of them?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, as you ladies know, I love to give back, and philanthropy is a huge piece of who I am as a person. And one of the things I like to do, and as I start working with clients, I'll ask them, where are you on a scale from 1 to 10 with your contribution to the world? And people will say, what do you mean? I'm like, well, it doesn't just mean writing the check. It means, are you the first one to sign up for the meal chain? Or do you have, how do you give back? Maybe it's an animal shelter, maybe it's a whatever. And so I get to the heart of it before we even begin coaching. And it's kind of like the truth serum, because they'll tell me, I'm a 3, I really want to give back, but I don't know how. And I'm like, yes, I can help you. And organically, we sprinkle that into someone's, into their business, what they're passionate about. And so that's why I ask them, what brings you joy? What do you do for fun? And so I'm pulling out of them what they're passionate about, because the way I give back looks different than how you give back and you give back.
Absolutely.
And it evolves, of
Yes.
course. When our children were young, we gave back all the time in
Yes.
school.
We were giving.
And now it changes, and,
Yes.
and that's okay. That's great. So part of that is pulling out of my clients really where they're at with that piece, and it's very rare I'll have someone that'll say oh, I'm a 9 or a 10. Most people are like, I'm a 3 or 4. I could do more. I'm a 5, and I wish I could do more. And yes, we need the check writers, but there's something about boots on the ground, getting your hands into it, and then doing with others.
And the different levels. I love that you ask about that, because like you said, if someone's satisfied with writing that check and they don't have, that's okay.
We need them too.
Yes, we do. We need all of those levels. But after our conversation the other day, I got to thinking, and I said, I used to be more involved in those things, and where do I want to put my efforts? Because I feel like I'm missing that little piece of philanthropy in my life. And I used to be.
Noted, Lynn.
Yes. Be careful. No. It's all good. No.
I have Soup Kitchen next week.
Yes.
Come in with me.
I will. Sign me up. But really looking forward, I think never heard of anybody really including that as part of their coaching practice, so kudos.
Right, and I just want to share, because I remember we touched base on this a little bit in our discussion, is another silver lining of COVID, not only this show, but people started reaching out to people. People started giving back in little ways that wasn't happening before. People were paying for someone's coffee behind them. They were paying for someone's lunch that was sitting next to them and the person didn't even know it. There was, I think, a lot more kindness that really started to generate and expand within people that wasn't necessarily there before, because everyone was just so focused on everything going on in their life, and COVID made us step back.
And Gina feels differently about this, and I
Well,
know
you
you had
feel
a
different,
wake-up
but I want to say
call.
that your experience is different from maybe a lot of other people's experience, where this was the first time doing and giving.
Right.
And I think that that's a really positive thing to note.
For sure. But, and I think this is a good reminder, because I think maybe people have pulled back on doing that a little bit.
As we get more back into our lives.
Right.
But I think Gina can share a little bit about the fact that that's always been in her life.
Yeah.
And she found that something was missing. And return to
Yeah,
a little
my
something.
roots.
Please tell us
Yes.
about that.
So I started giving back when I was 18, and I bought toys for an orphanage in town, and at the holiday season. I was raised Catholic, nothing against Catholics, but in the Catholic religion, you don't brag about what you do, and you're taught to, you just do good and you don't tell anybody else. And so I always kept that philosophy, so I hid all of my volunteer work and all of the nice things that I did over the years. But then when I had children, it changed. And I realized I was inspiring them, and then the more people I could inspire. So I started using social media to involve other people, because if it made me feel so good, it would make others feel good, and my children. And then so when COVID hit, of course, we said we were all home, we were all doing our thing. And I felt for the first time ever, I'm not giving back, and I'm at a 3 at my contribution, right? Although I may give some free advice and do some different things, but in terms of, like, I was missing it. So we started doing these luncheons to bring women together. I think this is where you're getting at.
Yes, I am.
Then,
yes, I am.
And it was great because we could connect, but then all of a sudden it felt salesy, and it felt like people were coming and they were sticking their business card under your nose, and it wasn't organic, and it wasn't natural, and we weren't there trying to lift each other up as women in business, and people just started to sell. And so I sat in my car after one of the luncheons and I said, this just doesn't feel right. And I remember like messaging my VA and saying, canceling the next 3 entrepreneur lunches, and she's like, but they're already scheduled. I'm like, cancel them, I don't want to do it anymore. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I did some soul searching, and I realized what was missing was giving back, that piece. And I hadn't hosted a purse project in years because of COVID. I was like, well, why not? Just because I don't know that many people on the shore. We fill 20 bags, we fill 50 bags. Doesn't have to be 250.
Tell us a little more about the purse project.
So the purse project, I realized it had, based on my daughter's age, because she's the one who inspired me to do it, driving down the street, and she said, Mommy, what do homeless women do when they get their period? And I was like, I don't know. Well, let me find out. And so anyway, that stemmed into the next day, here is a picture on Facebook, what to do with your old purses, filled with feminine hygiene items, toiletries, and now it's turned into delivering them to shelters. So when a woman is in a battered abuse situation, she can, get a gently used purse full of items. And so I started to do that, and I was like, well, I want to bring my clients in, get my clients in. So I did it for my close friends and my clients, and I hosted it in my home, and we did this for years. And so I thought, that's what I was thinking in the fall. Well, why not just do a purse project? And then I volunteered at a soup kitchen for 10 years, which I hadn't done in years. So I looked up the Shoreline food pantries, and now I run one of the pantries. And then when a client was dropping off donations for the purse project, and she was out of town, and she's like, this is so great. She said, can you please tell me if there's any organizations out there that do this and network? She goes, I would love to network and give back. And I was like, oh boy. Ding, 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 ding. I'm like, let me think about that. And so that's how I started networking for a cause. That's how I pretty much started everything, is solving a problem. So I just decided to stop the luncheons and highlight different nonprofits that really normally wouldn't get the exposure. So our first one was the Diaper Bank. The last one we did was for Fostering Family of Hope. 2 moms, 10 kids between the 2 of them, started this nonprofit. So we collected items, we came together. We still wore the name tags, drank the wine, talked about our business, but we brought donations, and then we talked about why we were here and why giving back is so important. And for me, that's how I want to spend my time networking.
And maybe why the cause connected you. Like what spoke to you about attending this? Like, I think sometimes that can really bring you together. Like,
yes.
Why did you attend the Diaper Bank versus the, because those ties and histories that we have are really what bring us together.
And that's a great point, Lynn. In the conversation, people really just say their name, their business, what they do quickly, and then then it's why they're here. Why do we want to give back? Why? And they tell their story instead of filling the air with, buy this, right?
Oh, that's so important.
Now, you brought us a few photos to share about networking for a cause.
So this is a purse project. This is the one we did last year. The Old Saybrook Chamber offered their space for us to host. That was the one I was concerned about. We ended up filling, I think, 150 purses. And
112.
112. Okay, close. There it is. I've hosted so many over the years, and we were always in the 200s.
That's perfect, though. That's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yep.
And that's just another view
That's
Nice.
just the
of
purses.
just the
Yep.
purses.
And this one was most recently. This one was, we collected hair products for kids that are foster kids. And so those are the two ladies in there that started that. And look at that small group of women and how many things we purchased together and the donations we were able to give these kids.
That's
great.
wonderful.
Very cool.
And then this is a photo of me with, in the community, in the Dominican Republic, the nonprofit Carita Smile that I sit on the board with. I've traveled many times, and that's pretty much what it is. You work in the village, and the kids just climb all over you, and it's the best. She's one of my favorites, Solange.
Oh,
I love that
I've
you
watched
have
her
that
grow up.
Oh, so
Yes.
you continue to reach
She
out
loves
to that
purple nail
community.
polish,
love
and I
that.
know all of her favorites, yes.
so those are awesome. Thank you for sharing those. And one thing that I'm, just curious about is, what are you hoping people leave with in your network for a cause? What do you hope they take with them from this experience?
Inspiration and positivity. So when you after you've attended a Networking for a Cause event and you bump into your friend the next day and you say, "What's new? Have you been networking? What are you doing?" I hope that you can inspire them and say, "Oh, I was at this great event last night and we raised X, Y, and Z and we did this." And so you're sharing a good story instead of a negative story.
And the trickle effect of someone else saying, "That's an awesome idea, let's do that."
Yeah, so how can I help?
Right.
Certainly spreads. And I know at the end of this, we're going to have information on how people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, but super quick. How
Yeah.
could someone learn more about you and what's going on with you?
The name of my company is ginajohnson.co, and I'm on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and you name it, LinkedIn, I'm there. And then I can direct them into the right category.
Awesome. Wonderful. So happy to have you on the show. This has been inspiring for me. As I said, I knew I was missing something, and I'm looking forward to connecting with the community on some sort of cause soon.
Excellent.
Awesome. So thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, ladies. This was a lot of fun, and it flew right by.
It does. All right, we'll see you guys soon.